I'm glad you asked that because as I was telling you, we are now 140 engineers, mostly software engineers. So every year we launch a lot of innovations. Actually, every few weeks we update all our systems with more innovations. For this year, here in ITM, we are announcing and showing to our clients the auto roll grading, okay? So just to make sure everybody understands, when an inspection worker is inspecting fabrics in an inspection machine, he needs to be counting the number of defects, and depending on the type of the defect, has different scores, like 4 points, 2 points, 1 point, and that's a very manual process with a lot of mistakes. And actually, it was also my first job when I was a teenager in my first job working in a textile factory. So I know how difficult is that, and I fucking hate it, okay? So now we are doing it automatically with AI and machine learning. Our system here is capable to detect a hole or a yarn knot and distinguish it from a slub yarn or an irregular yarn. So we are getting into these specificalities so we can really challenge the human inspection and eventually have the full factory of the future with full inspection done solely by AI. Yeah. So we don't need to be too much of a visionary to look at that. We just need to look to other industries. If you look to car industry, automotive, electronics, computers, you have already some signs of the lights on, lights off factories, right? Where you have robots everywhere, you have cameras everywhere, you have QR codes and tracking systems everywhere. So it's natural to imagine that the textile industry is going through the same direction. Although, I think we are always going to be a few decades behind because the products are so complex, right? The products are flexible, the materials are so different. It's really challenging to put a robot doing a human job in a textile. It's flexible, you know, it's subjective, it's difficult for robots to handle it. So I think AI is really going to be the inflection point for that challenge, and machine learning. We start seeing it with the self-driving cars, we start seeing it with other applications, but it's not yet quite there. So we always will need a bit of human intervention, like the self-driving cars today, and I think we are in that level. So for textiles, the areas where I see that can be the most disruptive is, for sure, human inspection. As I told you, I hate that, it's my childhood trauma. So we are going to get rid of that for sure. But there are other aspects of the industry, like all the traceability, for example. Today is still done with handwriting and pen and paper. If you go to a textile factory, you see pen and papers everywhere. So we need to solve that first, digitize all of that data first, and only then we can do a full autonomous supply chain in the textile industry. We still see some signs of that starting in the US and in Europe, and I'm pretty sure in a few years it's going to be worldwide, and we will be here to be the backbone of that. It's a great question, and also it's a question that happens also in the industrial revolutions, agricultural revolutions, and also if you ask me, why is the textile industry going to be the last one to be fully automated? That's precisely the reason. The labor is so cheap that the delta between the labor and the technology price needs to justify jumping from labor to technology. And in textiles, that's precisely the challenge. If I come with a technology to replace salaries, the technology needs to be super cheap because the salaries are also very cheap, okay? Or needs to be 10 times better than the people, right? So what we are focusing, at least for now in Smartex, is we are not looking to the salaries savings, although there are some. We are looking to the yarn and raw material savings, because those are the numbers that can really kill a company. If you look to the price of textile fabrics, 90% is yarn price. So if we have 1% of waste or 2% of waste, 2 kilos of waste, I need to produce like 50 kilos again, just to recover the yarn that was lost. So the yarn is really the gold mine in the textile industry. So every technology we build in textiles for this Smartex system, the cameras, the loop system, the online control, we always focus in saving yarn, saving time, produce a little bit more with the same resources. We don't really care much about the salaries because, as you say, it's not that big of a saving there, and it's not that impactful. But it's changing as well, and I would say like in 10, 20 years, that's also going to be a more and more relevant topic. My Portuguese clients, Italian clients, German clients, and a bit also the Turkish clients, they are always complaining about lack of talent, lack of people. Nobody wants to be a textile inspector, right? It's a very difficult job. The salary is not that big. It's a tough place to be. So they are finding troubles in finding people. So that's why I think AI can also cover some of those holes. So there is a lot of bullshit around traceability and sustainability, okay? And I acknowledge that most of the brands and most of the factories, they use those keywords to try to differentiate somehow. But then when you see their process, they are not really doing anything special on that. And there are a bunch of certifications, like everybody can have a certification, right? What we see in textile factories is the knitting waste due to defects is like somewhere between 0.5 to 2% waste in kilos. In the dyeing fabrics, in the dyeing finishing, we see between 2 and 5% waste, which is a lot for the volumes that we are talking about. But then you go to the cutting tables when they are spreading the fabrics, and it takes just a little defects here to damage the whole panel. And the defect waste there is like 10%, 15%. Sometimes it's 2 or 3, but there are some outliers that really damage the whole month. So we see that if you avoid the wastage as early as possible in the process, in the yarn level or in the knitting level, you can avoid so much headaches and so much waste and water and chemicals and time forward. And that's where the Smartex systems have the most impact. First, with the cameras, by stopping the machine in real time so we don't let defects to continue. Second, with the QR code system, so we can identify every single roll even after dyeing, because nowadays everybody swaps rolls. You never know where that roll comes from. If it was produced in my factory or in my neighbor's factory, I don't have any way to prove. And now we have a proof, like a digital product passport for the textile roll. And also with the online platform where I can see all the pictures. If the dye house guy has a problem, hey, I have 1 ton of contaminated yarn here. You need to pay me. Hold on, let me check the pictures. I have everything photographed with my machines. So I check the pictures. No, dude, that fabric is not mine because look at the pictures, it's not here. Look, show me the QR code. Oh, I cut out the QR code. Come on, that fabric is not mine. I just accept my fabrics if it has my QR code. It's like the passport. So this type of technologies help to bring a lot of transparency, reduce waste, and get things faster, you know, and get it closer to the 21st century, which sometimes is a bit unbelievable how many billions of dollars are still produced in pen and paper. Right? Yeah. So Turkey is a very specific market. By the way, is our largest market. We have tons of clients here. We have hundreds and hundreds of devices sold and installed, north, south, east, west. And this year particularly is very challenging for Turkey because of the interest rates, the currency, the many challenges, political, geographical. We are still recovering a bit from the earthquake of last year. So it's really a challenging period. Say that, the Turkish people, in my opinion, are the ones that can carry the most weight during tough times. Because every year there is some tough challenge, right? And even though the Turkish clients, they still bet in the future. They still invest in technology. They still open factories, open yarn spinning facilities, knitting facilities. They still export a lot to Europe. So it's always a mix of feelings. To Turkey is like super risky, but when we go there, everybody continues to work and nobody's like crying. They continue to invest. It's a very, Turkish are very, how do you say, they fight a lot. And we also have an office in Istanbul. We acquired a startup last year and we have 10 employees in Istanbul. And I tell you, I thought the Portuguese engineers were fucking hard workers. These guys here are fucking warriors, you know, like tigers. So I think we got really a good culture match. So I'm really in love with the place and with the industry in general. Middle East, we have not so much experience there. We have a few clients in Uzbekistan. We are opening new countries as well. But what I see is that these emergent markets, they are kind of dominated also by Turkish investors, Uzbekistan mainly. So we kind of feel the same vibe there. They still invest as well. In Africa, we still didn't start anything in Africa. We are looking for partners and distributors to help us opening interesting markets there. But for now, we are still very quiet and laser focusing in our key markets, which is Italy, Portugal, Turkey, Uzbekistan, now Bangladesh, India, Pakistan. So we are very focusing there. But soon, for sure, Africa will be in the map for us. True, that's true. I mean, we don't participate in many exhibitions, okay? Of course, we are just 40 years old, so we need to communicate a lot because we need to educate the market. So we put an effort there. We invest a lot in marketing, in the image, in the whole communication. So we are putting an effort there. We come to ITM, it's our second time here. It's funny because last time we were here, nobody was wanting to talk about cameras or inspection systems. And now we have 7 machines all over the exhibition with the Smartex systems. Santoni, Monarch, Vadets, Jingmei, Unitex, Tarot. So everybody is converting. We start seeing the first signs of competition, which is healthy competition, always coming with cameras for other applications and also for our applications. So we see that finally, in just 2 years, we are changing the industry mindset. So I think exhibitions are important because of that. It's the place where people meet and see what's new. The problem is the textile industry is so slow in innovations because there is lack of money, there is lack of investment for R&D. Like we are investing $10 million per year in R&D and just new stuff, salaries of engineers and new stuff, right? So I don't know about the others, but we are by far the ones that have the most software engineers working for this industry only. So we feel that the trade shows are important for us to keep this pace and to tell all our clients what's new. I told you about the auto grading, but we have many other new stuff in our platform. Remote control of the machine in your computer. You can check now in a mobile app all your machines, you can stop them, you can change parameters in your machines. There are so many new things. I keep struggling to explain to people what's new because we have new things almost every week, right? So I think trade shows are important for that. Maybe for the pace of the industry is too much, you are right. For our pace, maybe it makes sense because we have lots of stuff to show. It's also pretty expensive, right, to be in trade shows and all our time and attention. But in general, the industry is also very, very classic in the way to make business. My clients don't like Zoom or Google Meets or WebEx or something. They still love the good face-to-face discussion. And by the way, after this trade show, I'm going to stay in Turkey for like 1 month because I already know that all my clients will ask me to go to their factories and to start new projects with them. So it's very important to be in person here.